Good morning, BookTube, YouTube. This is Johnny. This is a Saturday morning here in Southwest Michigan. It is February the 22nd, 2025. It's 8:38 in the morning. We have a clear sky day, which is unusual. We're not really end of winter yet, but it's kind of cold out. And I've been making a lot of videos lately because my wife is gone. She comes back today. Maybe, of course, you never know. Nothing is certain in this life. The only thing that's certain in this life is that you're going to die and stand before God on the day of judgment. That is certain. Everything else is kind of wrapped in darkness. But as my routine is and my habit, writing in my paper diary this morning, I wrote one page already. I'm on page 174 for the year 2025, and I will start on page 175 for the year 2025. I'm waking up. I'm still kind of out of it. I'm getting more and more out of it as I read the news, and it's just but it came to me this morning. You know, I've been praying and praying, and I was writing in my diary, my paper diary, and I wrote here on this paper. I said I do not know what I will read this morning. Once again, I am out of it. I could just keep reading stuff that has no connection to what is going on in America or the world. Put my head in the sand. Let America and the world go to hell. Maybe that is what is going on. God is sending the world to hell. America is going to hell. So the morning goes by. Outside it is cold. Clear skies. Carol comes home today. So maybe that was the answer to prayer. You know, I've been crying out to God, what is going on, God? And then it came to me, God is sending America to hell. He's sending the world to hell. But at the same time, I was reading this morning for devotions. Well, as I've mentioned it, my wife and I have been going through the Gospel of Luke, and we're in if you read the Gospels, they primarily focus on the last days of Jesus. They focus on his death and his passion, his crucifixion. And so I've been reading this book, Meditations on the Life and Passion of Christ by John Tauler, who lived from 1300 and he died in 1361. And he was a German Dominican theologian, preacher, and devotional writer. This was published by Just and Sinner, which is an evangelical Lutheran publisher, little publishing. That's where I bought it from. I've shown this last couple of months. But I was reading the chapter 28 on Behold the Man. And he's referring to there in the Gospel of John, chapter 19. So then, starting at verse 1, so then Pilate took Jesus and scourged him, and the soldiers twisted a crown of thorns and put it on his head, and they put on him a purple robe. Then they said, "Hail, King of the Jews!" and they struck him with their hands. And then Pilate then went out again and said to them, to the Jewish leaders, to the mob, Behold, I am bringing him out to you, that you may know that I find no fault in him." Then Jesus came out wearing the crown of thorns and the purple robe, and Pilate said to them, the Jewish leaders, the Jewish mob, "Behold the man." And this is what the chapter is here in chapter 28. Behold the man, the 28th chapter. Christ is shown to the people by the governor, Pilate, and the words, "Behold the man." After that, Jesus had been thus inhumanly treated, and all the poisonous malice of the Jews had been poured out upon him. Yet not even then did their raging madness and hatred wax cold, nor was their thirst for blood quenched, not satisfied with having thus shamefully mocked and set at naught the Son of God in the sight of all who were in the judgment hall. They would have him led out before the gaze of all the people, who for fear of pollution had not dared to enter in, for Pilate was a heathen and profane, and it was not lawful for the Jews to come under his roof. They were afraid of becoming polluted by entering into the heathen man's house. Yet they had no fear of calling down Christ's innocent blood upon themselves. They desired to eat the paschal lamb, yet they feared not unjustly to put the true paschal lamb to death. Pilate therefore brought forth Jesus in his cruel agony and set him before the gaze of the raging crowd, saying, "Behold the man. Behold, I lead him forth to you. See how grievously he has been treated, how fearfully he has been scourged." Let us now observe this with great compassion. How pitiably our Lord stood there, covered with shameful garment that might well excite their laughter. His crown of thorns upon his head, his scepter a reed, his wounds gaping, his limbs worn and wearied, his poor body horrible to see, trembling with cold, shedding large drops of blood. Let us look too with an inward sorrow on his loving face, on which the angels desire to gaze. How pitifully it is swollen from the cruel blows, how torn and scratched by the fingernails of his tormentors, how stained and discolored with mingled blood and brain, how foul with spittle, so that he had almost lost the form of a man. Oh, of a surety, he who was not moved by this is harder than steel and adamant. When then Pilate had led him forth before the people, he said, "Ego homo, behold the man." This can be interpreted in divers ways. The Father of heaven has indeed loved us from eternity, and it is his will that we should give him love for love, according to our poor measure. This is why he said to the soul of a man, "Behold the man, look upon him, that thou mayest be looked upon by him. Love, that thou mayest be loved. Acknowledge him, that he may acknowledge thee. Behold my only begotten Son, whom beareth fullest testimony of my love for thee, since I have given him for thee. Neither his body, nor his soul, nor his blood were so dear to me, that I could hesitate to give him for thy sake. Nay, if I could have found my fatherly heart anything better or more precious, that would I have given for thee. Behold the man, in the manhood of my Son I have given thee my most high Godhead, for he is one with me, and in me one same true and undivided God. And whosoever receiveth him, receiveth me. I have given thee moreover my Holy Spirit, to cleanse and comfort and enlighten thee, to teach thee all truth and justice, to inflame thee with his own love, to solace thee, to enrich thee with all graces and virtues. For I took exceeding great complacency in thee, and thou didst find favor in my eyes, and I set my heart upon thee, and chose thee for my own beloved bride. And from everlasting had I decreed that my delight and my pleasure should be in thee, even thee whom I have chosen to be my temple, my chamber, my dwelling place. Behold the man, and him whom I've given thee my whole undivided self, that thou also mightest give to me thy whole undivided self, all that thou art and all that thou canst do. With the purest love have I embraced thee, without ever looking for any reward or compensation from thee. Wherefore it is just that thou in thy turn shouldst love me without looking for any reward. That is, thou shouldst love me for myself alone, that I may be thy reward, thy hope, thy aim, that thou shouldst love me because I have loved thee, and that thou mightst deserve to be loved by me. If thou wilt enter with me into the compact of love and become worthy to be loved by me, thou must be willing and living instrument in my hands. Allow thyself to be led by me, that thou mayst offer and resign thy whole self wholly to me without any wish or choice of thy own. Suffer whatever may seem good to me to do with thee both in time and eternity. Yes, I say it is thus absolutely necessary that thou shouldst leave me to work in thee, to leave thyself to suffer and to forego, that thou shouldst ask of me to accomplish in thee all that from everlasting I have decreed and foreordained, denying thyself utterly and giving me all power to work in thee, with entire trust in my goodness. Thou must cling to me, receiving with great gratitude from my hand all that I should permit to happen unto thee, both adversity and prosperity, temptation, afflictions, abandonment, distress, trusting that in my loving kindness I send thee these things as being the best and most helpful and useful for thee, and these must thou exercise thyself. But if thou art stable in thyself and persevere and look into the depths of thy soul, thou wilt clearly see why I have suffered these things to happen to thee, that they are most necessary for thee and for thy own interest. But above all, I wish thee to take care lest thou resist my workings within thee by obstinacy, self-seeking, wandering thoughts, negligence, and dissipation. But in whatever affliction, distress, or abandonment I may suffer to come upon thee, thou shalt desire to persevere therein as long as shall seem good to me. Until I loosen and snatch thee, therefore, set thee free, thou shalt bear that cross even to the end for my sake. It behooveth thee indeed to be thus shaken and tossed by temptation and troubles, until every straw of lust or selfishness or vicious propensity be blown away from thee, and thy soul, which is so proud and stiff, must be ground by these things, if thou by a millstone, until thou in thy own eyes art brought down to nothing, like dust and ashes, so as not only to acknowledge, but to feel that thou art the most wretched and vilest of all whom the world containeth. And thou must be so stripped of all will and choice of thy own, that whatever God shall do with thee and with all creatures may be so pleasing to thee, that thou mayest not even desire to be otherwise, even if all creatures and all the elements were subject to thy rule. But before this state can be reached, there is a work for thee to do, and toil for thee to bear. And to obtain all this, many will be the crosses and labors, yea, the spiritual deaths that thou wilt have to undergo. For before it can bring forth fruit, the grain of wheat must die in the earth. Of a truth, these are the two wings, exceedingly trustworthy, which summarily and swift lift us to the spiritual life. That is to say, self-denial and patient suffering of adversity. In 2 words, self-denial and suffering. For whoever knoweth how to resign himself to God in all simplicity, and to him no affliction, no infirmity, no adversity can happen at all without turning to increase of virtue. This is that to which the apostle beareth witness when he saith, we know that to them who love God all things work together for good. Therefore, if a man bears all things equally, and from all that happens to him, gather matter for self-exercise, if he carefully look into the depths of his own heart, he will hear the Father's voice speaking to him inwardly and saying, Behold the man, behold the man. Know thyself, know that thou art acknowledged thy too great want of mortification and manifold vices that lie right hidden in the depth of thy soul. Take heed that thou art nothing, that thou hast nothing, that thou canst do nothing of thyself. Suffer me then to work within thee. Cleave unto me by love, serve me by faith, and whatever thou canst do by thy own power, I will do it for thee. And whatever thou canst not do by thy own power, I will do it for thee. In this knowledge, therefore, such a man will exercise himself, and when all his defects and crosses have been taken away, he will go with them to God and give him thanks. For thus having caused him to know his own vileness, and will answer God and say to his turn, Behold the man. Behold, O my God, I am wretched and fit for nothing, weak and powerless. I have been conceived in sin, born in misery, brought up in vice. Because whom, O Lord, dost thou put forth thy power? Behold the man. Be not angry with the leaf that is carried away by the wind. Forget not, O tender Lord, my poverty and frailty. Take not away from me the help of thy grace. For I am a man, and a frail potsherd. I am a worm, and man full of uncleanness of the flesh, from which filth and dirt run down within and without. The power of resistance has gone from me, and readily I am overcome. Have mercy on me, O Lord. Have mercy on me, O thou my God. Fight for me, work in me, and do unto me what thou wilt. Behold, I resign myself to thee. For I know that thy nature is goodness, and that it belongeth to thee to have mercy and to spare. All my malice I cast into thy infinite goodness. Thou hast granted unto me to know my sin, O Lord. Grant that I may overcome them. Tear up the roots of all uncleanness of sin, and whatever is displeasing to thee, and again, plant in me thy divine love and all virtues. So that's some of what Tauler says here. Behold the man. I thought I'd just read that this morning. So that's what I'm reading for devotions this morning. Reading from the Gospel of John. So then Pilate took Jesus and scourged him, and the soldiers twisted a crown of thorns, put it on his head, and they put on him a purple robe. Then they said, Hail, King of the Jews! And they struck him with their hands. Pilate then went out again and said to them, Behold, I'm bringing him out to you, that you may know that I find no fault in him. Then Jesus came out wearing the crown of thorns and the purple robe, and Pilate said, Behold the man. Therefore, when the chief priests and the officers saw him, they cried out, saying, Crucify him, crucify him. And Pilate said to them, You take him and crucify him, for I find no fault in him. So, yeah, it's a Saturday morning. It's clear out. I might do the rounds today, visit thrift stores, or I might just sit in the house as America goes to hell and the world goes to hell. So, I hope you have a good weekend, have a good new week, and until next time, may the Lord bless. Bye.